Motivation is a lie. You tell yourself, what if the one thing you've been chasing your entire life, that burning fire, that electric feeling, that rush of I'm ready to change everything, was actually the biggest trap ever set for the human mind? What if motivation, the very thing that self-help gurus sell you in colorful Instagram posts and highlight reels, was nothing more than a beautiful, seductive, absolutely dangerous illusion? Here's the brutal truth nobody wants to hear. Motivation's an emotion, and emotions by their very nature are temporary. They come like a storm, violent, overwhelming, impossible to ignore, and then they disappear, leaving you exactly where you started, maybe even more broken than before. You wake up at 5 a.m. one morning, chest on fire, ready to conquer the universe. You lace up your shoes, you hit the gym, you meal prep, you journal, you feel unstoppable. Then Tuesday comes. It's raining, you're tired, your body aches, and suddenly that fire, gone, vanished, like it never existed. This is the cycle that destroys 99% of people. They chase motivation like addicts chasing a high. Every Monday is New Beginning Monday. Every January, this is my year. But the year ends and they're standing in the same place, making the same excuses, telling the same stories about what they're going to do. Discipline doesn't care if you're motivated. Discipline doesn't care if it's raining, if you're sad, if you're tired. Discipline is what happens when emotion fails, and emotion always fails. The moment you understand this, your entire life shifts. Comfort is the enemy wearing a friendly face. What if comfort, the thing you've been working your whole life to achieve, the soft bed, the warm blanket, the easy job, the Netflix nights, was silently, systematically, methodically destroying every ounce of greatness that was placed inside you at birth? What if every time you chose comfort over challenge, you were signing a contract with mediocrity? Your brain is wired for survival, not success. It is biologically programmed to keep you safe, warm, and comfortable. And in today's world, where everything is designed for convenience, food delivered to your door, entertainment available 24/7, human connection reduced to a swipe, your brain is getting exactly what it wants. But what your brain wants and what your soul needs are two completely different things. Every time you skip the hard workout, you're feeding the weak version of yourself. Every time you avoid the difficult conversation, you're building a wall around your growth. Every time you hit snooze instead of rising before the world wakes up, you are choosing the version of yourself that will look back at 60 years old and wonder, what could I have become? Comfort is seductive because it feels like safety. But it's not safety. It's a cage with no visible bars. You walk around thinking you're free, but you're imprisoned by softness. The greatest version of you has never, not once, been discovered in a comfortable moment. It has always, without exception, been forged in discomfort, in resistance, in the moments where everything in you screamed stop, and you kept going anyway. The 40% rule, you haven't even started yet. What if everything you think is your maximum, your limit, your breaking point, the moment you collapse and say, I can't go any further, was only 40% of what you're actually capable of? What if your mind quits 4 times before your body ever would? What if the ceiling you've been living under your entire life was never the ceiling at all, just the first floor? This is one of the most earth-shattering realizations a human being can have. When you feel like you're done, when your lungs burn, when your muscles scream, when your mind tells you it's impossible, you have only used 40% of your actual capacity. The other 60% is locked behind a door that only opens through one key: discipline, not motivation, not inspiration, not a good day, discipline. Think about what this means for your life. Every time you've quit a diet, a business, a relationship, a goal, you quit at 40%. Every time you said, this is too hard, you were standing at the starting line of your real potential. Every time you gave up, you were walking away from the version of yourself that could have changed your entire existence. The mind is the gatekeeper. It sends distress signals long before the body actually fails because it wants to conserve energy. It wants to protect you from discomfort. But disciplined people have trained themselves to recognize those signals for what they are: noise, static, lies. They push through anyway. They don't negotiate with their weakness. They execute. Hard work is not enough. You need savage consistency. What if working hard wasn't enough? What if the guy who outworks you on Monday but disappears by Thursday is wasting his time? And what if that guy is you? What if the real weapon isn't intensity, but relentless, brutal, unforgiving consistency? Day after day, week after week, year after year, no matter what. The world glorifies intensity. We love the story of someone who went insane for 1 week, pulled all-nighters, ran 20 miles, transformed overnight. It makes great content, but it makes terrible results because intensity without consistency is just noise. It's fireworks, spectacular for a moment, then complete darkness. Consistency is the most unsexy, unglamorous, underrated weapon in human achievement. Nobody makes a movie about the person who woke up at 4:30 a.m. every single day for 5 years and did the work when 0 people were watching. Nobody celebrates the athlete who trained in an empty gym for 3 years before anyone knew their name. But those are the people who changed the world. Discipline is consistency. It's doing the same hard things in the same hard way when you're exhausted, when you're doubting yourself, when life is falling apart around you. It's showing up for the 1,000th time with the same intensity as the first. That's not motivation. You can't be motivated every single day for 5 years, but you can be disciplined. Discipline is a decision you make once and execute every single day. Consistency turns ordinary people into extraordinary forces of nature. Your story is not your excuse, it's your ammunition. What if every painful thing that ever happened to you, the abuse, the poverty, the failure, the betrayal, the rejection, every single wound, wasn't meant to destroy you, but was being carefully, precisely, almost mercilessly designed to make you absolutely unstoppable? What if your darkest chapters were actually your most powerful ammunition? Most people wear their pain as a reason to stay small. I had a hard childhood. Nobody believed in me. The system was against me. I didn't have the resources. And maybe every single one of those things is true. But here's what is also true. Your story is not your sentence. Your past is not your prison unless you decide to live in it. Disciplined people do something radically different with their pain. They don't bury it. They don't pretend it didn't happen. They face it, feel it, and then weaponize it. They use every scar as fuel, every setback as a teacher, every person who doubted them as evidence of why they must continue. Because here's the reality that most people are too comfortable to accept. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your family, not the government, not your circumstances, not the perfect moment. You are the rescue. You are the one you've been waiting for. And when you finally stop waiting for life to get easier and start demanding more from yourself, something shifts. The pain that used to chain you becomes the engine that drives you. Your worst experiences become your greatest strengths. This is not motivation. This is discipline at its deepest level, choosing to rise from the ashes not once, but every single day. Who you become in the dark defines who you are in the light. What if nobody was watching you? No cameras, no followers, no validation, no applause. Would you still do the work? What if the truest measure of your character, your discipline, your real commitment to the life you say you want was not what you do when the crowd is cheering, but what you do in complete, total, absolute darkness and silence? This is where discipline separates itself from motivation entirely. Motivation performs for an audience. Motivation needs a witness. Motivation needs likes, comments, encouragement, accountability partners, and external validation to survive. Discipline needs nothing. Discipline is the choice you make when no one is watching, when there is no reward, when there is no recognition, when the only thing that exists is you, the task, and the decision. The 4 a.m. run you take alone in the cold, the extra hour you put into your craft when everyone else is sleeping, the meal you prepare for yourself when nobody is holding you accountable. The chapter you read when your friends are out partying. These invisible moments are building something invisible. Your character. And character, built in the dark, is the foundation that holds everything else up when the storms come. Because storms will come. Life will break you in ways you never anticipated. And in those moments, motivation will be nowhere to be found. But discipline, that silent, iron-willed, uncompromising discipline that you built in the dark when nobody was watching, that will carry you through. That will be the difference between surviving and becoming legendary. Why discipline beats motivation every time? What if everything you've ever been told about success, about hustle, about inspiration, about waiting for the right moment, the right feeling, the right version of yourself to show up was one of the most catastrophically dangerous lies ever fed to the human race? What if the very thing you've been chasing, that electric, chest-burning, eye-watering feeling of being motivated, was actually the reason you keep failing? What if motivation itself, the billion-dollar industry built on highlight reels and quotes and morning playlists, was your single greatest enemy disguised as your greatest ally? I need you to sit with that for a second, because what I'm about to say is going to make some of you deeply uncomfortable. And if it does, good. Comfort has already stolen enough from you. Let me tell you something about motivation. It's a feeling, and feelings are liars. Feelings are temporary, emotionally driven chemical reactions in your brain that spike high and crash hard. You felt it. Everyone in this room has felt it. That Sunday night energy where you're going to change everything. Meal prep done, alarm set for 5 a.m. Vision board updated, playlist ready. You are locked in. You are a different person. You are ready. Monday morning comes, the alarm goes off, and just like that, that fire, gone. Completely gone. Like someone poured cold water on everything you felt 8 hours ago. And you lie there bargaining with yourself, negotiating, telling yourself, I'll start fresh tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes next week becomes next month, and next month becomes another year of the same story with a different date on it. Think about the most comfortable version of your life right now. The routines, the habits, the things you call rest, which are really just dressed up avoidance. The TV shows you watch instead of working on your dream. The snooze button you hit instead of creating the life you say you want. The difficult conversation you've been avoiding for months. The business you haven't started. The book you haven't written. The body you haven't built. You know what all of those things have in common? Comfort killed every single one of them. And here's the devastating part. Comfort doesn't feel like destruction. That's what makes it so dangerous. Comfort feels like safety. It feels like reward. It feels like you deserve it. You had a hard day. You had a hard week. You've been through a lot. You deserve to relax. And maybe that's true. But let me ask you something that nobody is asking you. What does the person you want to become deserve?